Oh yeah, that's the music for VGB's bonus, everyone. And you know what? If you're listening to this on the main feed, you're like, it's a bonus. That's right. I'm putting a bonus on the main feed this week because I have the very special opportunity to talk to a friend of the show and also one of my favorite capital J journalists working in the industry today. It's the one, the only Grant Stoner. Hi, Grant.
Hello, thank you for having me.
You're so welcome. I'm so excited that we're finally on a podcast together. It's not often that that two cripples get on one gaming podcast.
I
So
know.
what's the deal?
I mean,
We got
listen, I'm not saying we shouldn't have our own show called Two Grippers, but we should have
we
our own
should.
show. Yeah, Two
We should.
Grippers.
Yeah, I think so. We could do that. We'll you know what? Folks, Jordan, cut this part out. TM. That's the name of the new show. We'll be designing it soon. Thank you so much. But no, for real, I am super excited, especially because it is Disability Pride Month, which is a cool time to remind everyone at home that disabled people are around and we're here and we're not going anywhere. And it's one of the only demographics that almost everyone is guaranteed to be a part of at some point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
You don't
you
like
can't avoid it.
you don't like to think about that, do you, at home? But guess what? It's coming. It comes for us all, whether it's temporary or permanent, whether it's congenital or accidental. So think about that, everyone at home. Now, for Grant and I, we're gold star. We're gold star cripples, baby.
We have like front of the line passes, like
we,
VIP seating.
we do. We do. We
Yeah,
get that good. We get that good parking. We
yeah.
get that. We get. It's pretty nice. So that's great. I also want to just give Grant his flowers real quick. If we were to cut off the year right now, I do not think there's a better reported piece in games media than what Grant wrote about Mark Barley and the Able Gamers stuff. I think that was one of the best written pieces. It is a tough read. It is agonizing in a lot of different ways, especially for the disabled community. But I think it is one of the best pieces I've read, certainly over the past 5 years, and I think it's the best piece this year by a wide margin.
I really, really, really appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Genuinely, um, there was roughly 5 months of intensive reporting,
Mm-hmm.
dozens of interviews, um, so much research, like behind the scenes, looked at like documentation and speaking with multiple sources. Yeah, it was very intense. So I'm very glad that it's out and that the victims can have their stories be told.
Yeah.
Um, bunch of weird behavior, just weirdo behavior.
It is something that I think had been whispered about for a long time, and maybe you can speak to some of that about like how you got kind of latched on to the idea of chasing this because it's one of those things where when because obviously in games journalism I'm aware of them, as a disabled person I'm aware of them, and also as, and this is apart from my journalism work, but as a maker of a device that we're going to be putting at the feet of people with upper limb disabilities. We've been talking to them, and it's weird because about 2 years ago some conversations with them sputtered a little bit, and then I just started hearing stuff, and it was vague, and it was odd, and I didn't chase any of it down because I'm frankly not good enough of a journalist to do any of that. But it's one of those things where it always kind of made me wonder, when did that process start for you? Not that we want to make this entire episode about that piece, but it's like I'm so curious about when you kind of latched onto that, and what made you want to chase that down.
I'm not going to give specifics because
That totally makes sense.
people are surprisingly still not happy with that piece.
Yeah,
And I will leave that up in the air for interpretation.
sure.
Um, but it's whispers that as a disabled individual in the community, as a disabled reporter in the community, like you said about yourself, um, it's not, it's very open secret.
Yeah.
And for years, Able Gamers was the dominant being in the
Yes.
industry for accessibility. Um, so it was only through the bravery of the sources
Yeah.
that I was able to look into this and dig deeper and see what the issues were.
Yeah.
But in terms of my knowing of it, um, I'll just say that it's a very open secret
Yeah.
about those behaviors that have been going on
Allegedly. Yes.
allegedly, for years.
Yeah.
But it was
Yeah.
the sources
Yeah.
that
which
everything.
is which is so incredible. I mean, we there's so many tough pieces that have been reported on over the years, and people get bent out of shape about something or another with a lot of pieces that come out. They get bent out of shape about maybe the vagueness of some things that get reported, but people really don't understand. Generally, I think the general public really has a hard time understanding sources and protecting those sources. I think you have consistently been someone very good at that. I think, especially your editors at IGN have been very good at that. Maybe speak briefly to just generally kind of the relationship between journalist and source, if you don't mind.
I have learned for years, because of my own disability, to treat everyone with kindness.
Yeah.
Because I haven't been treated with kindness throughout my own life. I mean, as a disabled person yourself, I'm sure you've encountered people in your life who, either do the pity or the inspiration, not really giving you agency. So I use my own lived experiences to give people um, a microphone
Yeah.
and just to let them share their story through a safe environment.
Yeah.
And I've found that through the past few years, as I've been doing more intensive investigative research, that mentality lets people feel warm and welcome so they can speak with you because they
Yeah.
ultimately trust you. And not that I'm doing that just for a good story, but I'm doing it because I genuinely care
Mm-hmm.
about these sources' well being.
Mm-hmm.
I know for this piece and in my previous investigative piece I wrote last year about the alleged advocate who didn't
Mm-hmm.
exist, a lot of my
Yes.
sources were terrified of speaking out
Yeah.
because of the power that these individuals had. So it was months of conversations, assuring them, giving them room to like. One of the interviews I had, it was roughly just 2 hours of just them just recounting instances. And they were like, "I'm so sorry, I'm rambling." I said,
No, you're good.
this is for you. Like,
Yeah.
this is your space.
No, no, no.
You
No,
yeah,
there's no limit to the rambling you can do.
yeah,
I do plenty of it. So,
yeah. Like, I always want to assure my sources, like, hey, you're allowed to speak to me. You're
yes.
allowed to feel safe. Um, I may not use everything you say.
Right.
Or there may be difficult topics that I have to keep pushing on, but I'll do it with grace and kindness, because ultimately that's what they deserve at the end
Yeah.
of the day.
Yeah, I think it is I think it's really important that sometimes journalists talk about that relationship because trust is such a thing you have to build with people. You can't burn sources. You can't give too much that you know, they can oscillate between having things that are off the record, right, for kind of context so that you understand things without actually revealing anything major, but also things that are on the record that could be released in detail. It's a really really tricky dance, and I think especially with those with that last piece you mentioned with the advocate that didn't exist, which is such a wild story, and also the able gamer stuff. Like I just think you did a wonderful job with those. So
Thank
yeah,
you. I
yeah,
really appreciate that, Julie. Thank you.
yeah, yeah. No, of course. I think it's so I don't know. Capital J journalism is unfortunately one of those things that has really been really deteriorated. I think over the past 3 years in the space, and it's not from a lack of people who want to do the work. I really don't. I don't think it is true. I do think it is mostly lack of opportunities, lack of freelancer budget space, lack of resources for larger websites, including things like Polygon, which used to do a bunch of capital J journalism and now
Yeah,
has been you know
gutted.
relegated to Valnet, right? So it's just hard. But yeah, Grant, you're doing amazing work in the space, and I want to talk about disability. It's really fun to have you on the show because you've already tapped into a few things that I think are just really specific to our experiences, and um, I would love if you're game to talk about some of the moments where you feel like you've been made into this kind of inspiration thing
Yeah.
because a lot of people don't understand. Like I talk about this stuff a lot, and it's like it is the way that a lot of people assume that the way disabled people are mistreated is kind of in that bullying vein, and really, and it can be that, but really, it's the removal of agency that is such an insidious way that disabled folks kind of get treated. So I don't know if you're comfortable. I'd love to
Oh
know some
yeah.
of those things. Okay,
Yeah. We can go band for band. I
sure.
can admit to it. You can give it. Um, so one of the first ones that to me is funny. My mom and I were at the hospital, the local hospital. This was 7, 8 years ago. I was doing a routine chest X-ray because I'm disabled. Huh?
Yeah.
I have lung problems, as you can sound in my voice, as you can hear my voice. Um, and this old woman walked up to me. No idea who she was. Drew the sign of the cross on my forehead with her finger, gave me a kiss on my forehead, and I went over to my mom and said, "Thank you for taking care of him." And my mom just looked at her like, "What am I supposed to do?" And I was so stunned that
Uh
she blessed me to be healed.
huh.
Um, Obviously it didn't work because I'm still
Right.
yeah,
First of all, no, you failed, ma'am.
yeah.
Thank you.
But
Um.
and then another example, this is a rather long example. So I graduated from a university in Pittsburgh,
Hmm.
where I live. And when I graduated, they invited the local news team to do a report on me.
Hmm.
Even though I graduated with roughly 300 other students in that class. Um, and they made me give a speech at commencement,
Hmm.
even though speeches are reserved for like top of the top.
Yeah,
So,
valedictorian stuff
yeah.
like that. Yeah. Hmm.
Um, and I wasn't a bad student by any means, but like I was chosen over people with like 7 majors,
Uh-huh.
like 4.8 GPAs.
Uh-huh.
I was like a 3.7 GPA with two
Mm-hmm.
majors, and they made me give a speech at the local news station,
Mm-hmm.
talking about cameras and their report on me. They marketed the shit out of that. Like 3 months. It was in the papers, it was on TV, it was in their magazine. We all know the answer and the reason why.
Yeah, sure.
Um, yeah, I have so many stories of
It's
how the
it's
public just doesn't know
it's
how to behave.
it's really nuts. I mean, I was telling someone this story recently, but when I was in college, I was on the school newspaper, and there was actually a shooting at our local Planned Parenthood. And when I went to talk to someone that worked at Planned Parenthood, uh, there were there were anti-abortion protesters outside, and I also wanted to talk to them and kind of because when there's a shooting and someone shoots through the windows of a Planned Parenthood, but you're still out there protesting abortion when they're closed up and trying to repair the place to reopen it. It just kind of raises questions about
Yeah.
your vibe. Um, and all three of these ladies, they uh, they all tried to get me to join their church because they believed I could be healed. Um,
Did you?
so yeah, I didn't. It was really tempting, Grant, to join
You're allowed.
and the anti-abortion protesters
Yeah.
church. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Real tempting. But they were really adamant about if I did the right combination of prayer and take some of the supplements that they sell through their church, that I'd be better. So that continues the theme of kind of a Christian twinged um, saviorism when it comes to being disabled. Um, and I also have a very similar story with academia. I was in high school, but they gave me and this other girl a award. There were like 900 people in our graduating class, and they both gave us this award that we had to accept in front of this large group for quote unquote overcoming the odds when we graduated from high school. And I'm just like, guys, like there are some really dumb kids here who graduated that really did actually overcome some odds, or people who like they didn't have a ride to school ever, or like
Yeah.
they really had genuine hardships, as opposed to these two disabled kids who were like smart and well taken care of and like
Yeah.
had a support system. And it's like it is it is a reflex that I to some extent understand, but it always I don't know if you've had experience with this, but whenever I push back on these things with people who aren't like my family or friends, it's met with genuine confusion about like why we wouldn't just love to have this kind of um, inspirational aura around us. And I just like
Mhm.
it's hard to explain to people, but it just you said it beautifully. It really removes our agency, and I think that's something that I still struggle with in adulthood. I don't know about you either, but I
Yeah.
still struggle with that.
Yeah. There was a recent incident where my partner, who is also disabled, but
Hmm.
she isn't visibly disabled like me most days. She uses a cane, but most days it's not visibly presenting.
Yeah,
So we were at the mall,
yeah,
as most people in their late 20s, early 30s do, I
yeah.
guess. And this woman walked up to us and she stopped us. And she was like, "Let me pray for you." And my
Oh,
partner was like, "No." And we just kept walking. And the look on the woman's face was like, usually just confused,
yeah,
almost angry. Like,
yeah,
how dare you not let Jesus into your life?
right,
Um, but yeah, it's very a lot of people don't understand because they think they're doing a good thing.
right.
Like it's those moments where it's like, I did my good deed for the day.
Mm-hmm.
I saw the poor little crippled guy out on
Mm-hmm.
the streets and I told him I would pray for him. I'm a good person.
Mm-hmm.
And when you challenge that, it's often met with like, conflict of what they thought was good,
Mm-hmm.
and then people don't react well to having their ideals
Right.
questioned or met with resistance. Um, but yeah, it's something that moving forward, I try to just smile and say no thanks,
Yeah.
just keep moving. But there are some people who are like really persistent,
Yeah.
um, who just really want you to feel their love.
Yeah. And just kind of get down there with them in whatever um kind of mode that they're in, and we just don't have any fucking time for it. I mean, I just don't understand it. It's one of those things that frustrates me even into adulthood. That I don't know. It's still astonishing that that happens. But it does. You mentioned your
Yeah,
partner. Do you mind talking about like relationships and stuff?
sure.
Okay, because you don't strike me as someone that had a hard time, um, dating to me. Like, I mean, I'm just saying in this
Mm,
in the sense of like you're very confident, you're very, it's like, and I also have not had an issue with that, but I think a lot of people are very curious about being disabled and being in relationships, and something I
yeah.
see, it's something I see even with my friends who, now that I'm 40, it's like there's a lot less curiosity about that, but like
Hmm.
definitely when I was growing up, that there was a lot there
Hmm.
as well. So I don't know, just curious.
Growing up for me, I was criminally single
Yeah,
and chronically single.
yeah,
A lot of people in my area didn't want to date the local
yeah,
purple kid from school.
yeah,
Um, I did have a girlfriend in high school, but it was short lived. Um, but for the most part, my confidence came through uh, when I became more of a presence in the gaming industry.
yeah,
Because
sure,
as I am as a person, I'm very shy.
yeah,
Even speaking to you previously before the show,
sure.
like I had to like hype myself up
I get
to
that.
do it,
Yeah,
even though I know you, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Um, but my relationship was because I was friends with her for like 3 years.
yeah.
And then eventually we were like, hey, this is weird, right? Like, this is not just a friendship.
Sure,
And we
yeah.
were both like, yeah, I agree. Um, but it wasn't because of like smooth talking and
No, yeah,
like eyebrows and,
but I
it was,
but I love that. I love that as a genesis to a relationship of just like, hey, like we've been friends for a long time. Feels like maybe something else is there. Like that's a great foundation for that.
yeah, she likes to joke because we were good Twitter mutuals.
Yeah,
We would always hype each other up and have little inside jokes. And when we started telling people we were dating in the accessibility space, because
yeah.
she's also a big consultant in the space, everyone was like, yeah, we know. And we thought we were being sneaky. And like, we thought we were like, no one knew. And they were like, really? Because we've seen the way you two act for like, um,
That's really funny.
but no, it was very genuine, very sweet.
Yeah,
It wasn't the usual like dating, like, hey, how are you? You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah,
It
yeah.
felt very natural,
That's
which was
cool.
good for me and my awful anxiety with stuff like that.
Yeah,
Um, but no, I was not a confident person. I still don't even think I am. I like to think because of the beard that I have more confidence.
it helps, man.
It
It
does.
helps. Yeah, it
Yeah.
helps. I can't go without it. Last time I saw myself mostly without one, I had a full on panic. I was like, nah, can't do
Yeah.
that. Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's a good shield.
Hmm.
No, that's funny. I totally get what you mean. I mean, I think like I still have to hype myself up, less than I used to have to, but especially if I don't know someone that well, I definitely have to do that.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, gosh, I just I don't know. It's so interesting. I also did not I did not get that into dating until I was really into my early 20s.
Same. Yep.
But because high school kind of same deal. I mean, like I did develop a um I did develop like a certain reputation. I was popular among people who would like sit next to me in classes, and I think I kind of got the sense of like people being like, oh, the wheelchair kid's like kind of funny or like interesting or like whatever.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
there's
Same.
always this kind of like surprise that dawns on them, and you could see that start to spread a little bit. And I do think that like was the basis of some confidence that I eventually got into college. But yeah, it wasn't until it was I was in my early to mid 20s that I really developed that. I mean, it's so interesting. I think it really speaks to like how just how shitty kids are like
Yeah.
generally,
Yeah.
like I mean it's just like it's like I don't know how parenting can help that. I don't know how school systems. I'm not like a curriculum designer or a principal or a
Yeah.
superintendent. I don't know how to fix that, but like I could see the problems while I was in school of like the way that I'm being treated by staff or teachers or adults around me absolutely is trickling down to how kids also
Yeah.
treat me.
Yeah. I was denied a AP history course, U.S. history course, because the AP teacher was like, he won't be able to handle it, and he
Oh,
had no like evidence supporting that. Um, he just saw me and was like, no.
uh-huh.
Yeah, and then I would intern. Uh, the kids would see like I wouldn't do certain activities or whatever, which would then in turn fuel
Right.
like bullying and such. Um, but yeah, it really was the only way I had like friends
Yeah.
was people had to get to know me
Yeah.
and like ignore the rumors that they've heard or like the
Totally.
false impressions that they've had.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, which is super hard. I mean, it's just like, it again, I mean, kids just they see
Yeah,
how adults treat other kids and they go, well, I guess this is kind of how it's done. And
yeah,
it really takes some kind of like, I don't want to call it bravery, but it's like it does take some confidence of other kids to kind of break out of that cycle and go
yeah,
like, actually, I'm going to get to know this person because I'm my own
yeah,
person. I'm going to get to know them. So, yeah, it's hard. I do think being online flattens that, right? Like, do you feel that having an online presence has helped flatten that experience for you?
yeah. I found out. It was the first moment where I was like, oh wow, people actually like me.
Yeah,
Um,
sure.
when people were sharing my work
Yeah,
that weren't my editors,
yeah.
it was like, oh wow, people actually like think I'm good at this or that
Hmm.
I'm not a piece of shit, right? And
Right.
then, oh, sorry, can we say that?
No, yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh,
Okay,
just say
cool.
whatever you want.
I always had to make sure. Um,
No, you're good.
and then one time I saw when Ken Jennings was going to be the host of Jeopardy, whenever there was a disabled movement to choose a hot person to host Jeopardy,
Right.
and people chose me. I was like, what the hell are you people doing? Please stop it.
You have to stop. This is gonna get out of hand, and then
Um,
I'm gonna have to be on Jeopardy. Oh
yeah,
no.
but that was like a big moment for me where I realized that the issues I had at home, at high school,
Yeah.
at college weren't reflective of who I was as a person,
Yeah.
which really helped open up my confidence and my ability to do my job,
Yeah.
make friendships, make connections. Um, but yeah, online, as much as people hate it, which I agree, online is a shitty place. It does have so many benefits. especially for disabled people.
Well, I think speaking to that flatness, I mean, I definitely have had the same experience of like you could just be in a place. Yeah, I know you know this. You can be in a place and feel that people are uncomfortable about approaching you, like
Yeah.
just
Oh yeah.
physically, like you're just like people just won't do it. And there's also this kind of difficulty for us where if we're at a place with in a crowded room, a networking setting, something, we're both yelling up at people, which is not easy.
Yeah.
It's like it's just not an easy thing to do.
Yeah.
And so when you're online, all those things go away. And the ability to approach someone else is super, super easy and removes that
Mhm.
discomfort. And that discomfort sucks that it exists. Like it totally sucks and I wish it would go away. And I wish like I hope we can be visible enough that that discomfort goes away. But I do appreciate online, especially in the specific way to flatten things for interactions
Yeah.
between people because it does remove that discomfort. Um, and I think that's a good thing.
I do think there is a flip side there.
Yeah.
Within the disability community, especially, there is such a we're all in this together mindset,
Mm-hmm.
which in turn can create issues,
Yeah.
especially for my job,
Mm-hmm.
when sometimes some of the people in the industry aren't the best.
Right.
And there are people who are inherently mad with the
Yes.
work I do because I'm going against that online community, that like family unit that's
Sure.
been built up for years. So it's a good thing, but also it can have negative consequences.
That's a really, really good point. You know, watching marginalized communities kind of become monolithic against their will, you know, in some ways of just kind of going, okay, because we've seen this with reporting on different trans people. We've seen this
Hmm.
on where
Hmm.
it's like there's anger, there's pushback, there's this kind of monolithic community behavior that creates tension between journalists and an overarching subject matter or group. And I think you're right. I do see that with disability of like, you know, we are so not a monolith. You know, like
Yeah,
there are shitty disabled people. Hi, the governor of Texas, one of the shittiest disabled people to ever live. Like just a bad dude, like all the way down. So it's like
zero
that's a
redeeming factors.
no redeeming value. And it's just like that's a really bold example, like a really, really bold example, but it's like that kind of monoculture mindset, it can feel good at times when it is disability pride month and we do want to raise awareness and there is this but the flip side of that is like yeah, no, it can't be a monoculture because it
Hmm.
is really, really different,
Hmm.
you know.
Yeah, nothing. The one thing that I try to tell like disabled people is you need to breach that bubble
Yeah.
and escape this idea that we're all this like kind, loving family unit and
Right.
just treat everyone like individuals.
Right.
Because in the end, there are bad people who do abuse that system.
Yes.
If we keep treating them like family units and we're all one big happy, monolith, like you said, it just lets the abuse fester
Yeah.
and make it
Yes.
worse.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it hurts to realize that there's awful people in your community.
Yeah.
It's best to get rid of them and confront those emotions rather than let it fester and continue to grow.
It's a really good point. Yeah. I hope this is a weird hope, but it's like I hope we're confronting a lot of that. I'm hoping we're confronting that more and more over the next couple of years. I think the
Hmm.
increase in
Hmm.
I think the increase in bylines that you've had and other people have had reporting on disability has been really energizing. But I think there needs to be more of that. And I also think like you're so right about breaching that bubble too of just having um, disabled people just be in the conversation. It's not just about
Hmm.
accessibility as well. I mean, there's something really wonderful to me about disabled people reporting on these things because they can be really get to the heart of the matter with this institutional knowledge. But like, I also just want to know what Grant Stoner's playing and what he's interested in and like what he's up to. I don't necessarily always want to be like, hey dude, like what's the rub on disabled stuff right now? You know what I mean?
I did a review for Polygon before Valnet
Yeah.
butchered it, and 2/3 of the review were unrelated to
Yeah.
accessibility issues, and I loved it. It was one of my
Yeah.
favorite reviews.
Yeah.
Um, I still felt like it had to include some
Which
accessibility critiques.
which I also think like to just cut you off for like 1 second. I also think that mindset should permeate other writers reviewing
Yeah,
stuff too,
yeah,
right? I mean, like that's part of this now. Like Ubisoft games start with accessibility menus. Like this is something that like I
yeah,
think we ought to whether we're disabled or not do. So I love that format of having that 2/3, 1/3, and obviously you taking the lead on that's been great.
yeah. It was refreshing because there was a moment where I was facing burnout
Yeah.
by just doing the same, like, what options does this game have?
Yeah.
Look at this new feature the devs developed. Isn't that neat? And to me, it was so derivative of everything I've written.
Right.
And it just got to a point where I was like, I don't want to keep doing this.
Hmm.
And the Assassin's Creed review was the first review in 2 years
Hmm.
where I didn't touch on the accessibility of it.
That's amazing.
And it was very fun.
Yeah.
It energized me, maybe I wanted to keep doing critiques
Yeah.
like that. Um, but it's something I hope more disabled writers understand. Like you said, is that you don't need to only do accessibility work.
You don't have to filter everything through that. I mean, it's there is something there is something that maybe feels right about it, and there's that may come from a lack of confidence or experience of feeling like, well, I have this kind of institutional knowledge of this thing,
Hmm.
and there's a fit from a visual perspective, but you're also maybe kind of sort of removing some agency from yourself by doing
Yeah,
that. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Which is a self-perpetuating cycle that, like, I think disabled people do deal with on a large basis. So, I'm definitely guilty of that. So, um, yeah, no, so that's crazy. Something you've also reported on in the past is, how return to work or layoffs have affected
hmm,
workers with disabilities, especially. We have just come off of an absolutely staggering 9,100 people losing
yeah,
their jobs from Microsoft, including many from gaming divisions.
hmm,
We have this absolutely wild story that is broken today about Krafton delaying Subnautica 2 and probably removing bonuses totaling about $250 million from its workers due
hmm,
to that delay.
yep.
Um, maybe kind of talk about what you've heard or seen or just thought about over the past week as some of these things have unfolded.
I do want to point out first that with accessibility reporting
Yeah,
and disability reporting, every single topic can be observed from that lens.
yeah,
So like the layoffs, for example.
yes,
I wrote a piece, was it last January or 2 Januaries ago? I can't remember. About what disabled employees do when they lose their jobs. What happens to their
yeah,
health care? What happens to their
right,
treatments, medications, what that looks like. And those stories can easily be found every time there's mass layoffs.
yeah,
So right now, with 9,100 people removed,
mm-hmm,
um, what happens to their healthcare,
Yeah.
especially now with the recent bullshit that just happened on a federal level.
Yep.
What happens to their healthcare? What happens to their treatments, medications, family members who are relying on that
Hmm.
healthcare? What does their life look like now that they're out of work? And seemingly, for no reason, aside from a profit driven motive. Like,
Right.
again, I think Phil Spencer makes, was it 10 million a year or something like that?
Yeah. He's made a lot.
He's made a lot.
Yeah.
I think it's very easy for reporters to also touch on those aspects
Yeah.
because it's not just what options these games have made, it's also the human impact on
Yeah.
what that looks like moving forward.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I'm always struck by these stories in that angle because just from a obviously a very clearly personal standpoint, those, and obviously all the slashes to Medicaid,
Hmm.
that are being made currently, um, as as flat as we just talked about the playing field being online and kind of barriers to entry being lower, there's also this flip side reality of a disabled person losing their health care may be exponentially more devastating in a shorter term than someone who might be otherwise quote unquote healthy, not dealing with any of those issues.
Hmm.
And so that impact cannot ever be denied. And it's one of those things that devastates me quietly every single time one of these things happens.
It really is, and not to be too like doom and gloom and dramatic,
No,
but
no,
in many
please.
cases, it quite literally is the decision between life or death
Yeah.
for many employees.
Yep.
If they can't get their treatments or procedures or medications to treat their disabilities, whether temporary or permanent, that can often cause irreversible damage
Yeah.
to people. And it's something that, again, I think should be touched on every time these layoffs happen.
Yeah.
Is what does that look like now for the employees who relied on these benefits, or what their life looks like now? It's very tragic. It's very these stories need to be told
Yeah.
so people understand just how awful these decisions are
Yeah.
for so many people.
Yeah. And I think sometimes when conversations turn to unionization and people may get kind of confused or into the weeds about like why groups would choose to do this. And we've seen increases in unions in games for a while. But this is one of those benefits that a union would be able to provide to some extent is, basically guarantees to secure some sort of health care through a contract. Now, of course, like these corporations still have wield enormous power, but these are things that can be negotiated in collective bargaining agreements and things like this. But unfortunately for Microsoft and a lot of the other layoffs we've seen, like this is just a total unprotected event that removes healthcare for thousands and thousands of people and creates, like you said, life or death scenarios for a lot of disabled people.
It makes the response by Phil Spencer that was posted where
Oh,
he said something like, our team is still proud to be delivering high quality experiences. It makes it very hollow. It makes it very like warm tongued almost. Like just so um irresponsible.
I, I said last week on this show actually that I don't say stuff like this very often. I really don't. But I said whoever was responsible for getting that into that email should lose their job. Like
Yeah,
every single person
yeah.
involved because I was so angry to see the victory lap to By the way, like we're cutting this massive group, but hey, we're doing it at the time where everything's coming up Xbox, baby. It's like what? How the fuck does that make it into your
Yeah,
statement? It's just so
yeah,
disgusting.
yeah. But he wears a
Um,
jacket. He wears trainers. He's
yeah,
just
no, no.
nice.
He's
He's just
like
like us.
us. He's
He's a
just like
dude.
us. He's just a dude. He's got his cool office. He's talking about how much he loves playing Nintendo. You know, it's like, oh, he's cool. He's talking about other games he plays. What a cool guy! And his jacket and his fucking sneakers. Yeah, I mean, um, I'll ask you this as another journalist, kind of point blank, because this is
Mhm,
something I've thought about lately. Um, Phil Spencer has historically over the past 5 years done the softball circuit with a lot of different media organizations, going to different media orgs and those orgs are allowing him to essentially just parrot a bunch of marketing
mhm.
speech directly into microphone. Um, I feel like some responsibility is on us as the journalist class to not allow that shit to happen. I don't know
Yeah,
how you feel about that, but I think back to all that stuff, and I feel like we've really given him, that guy specifically, a long leash with media itself.
I would say I'm more lenient and forgiving toward freelancers because there
Oh,
was a
sure,
moment 2 years ago where I was one of the media people who was giving him a microphone.
sure,
He sat down with me, let me interview him for the Forza Horizon blind driving assists, which now
which is
can't
really
be
cool,
used because
right?
Turn 10 was just gutted.
Uh huh,
So all
uh
that
huh,
shit about how it's like the best and you
uh
can't
huh,
use it anymore.
uh huh.
Um, but in terms of like publications and
Yeah,
established journalists,
yeah,
I do think there should be more pressing questions,
yeah,
more pushback. Um, Something I've learned with like the reporting that I've been doing over the years
yeah.
is sometimes you have to be uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you have to make people uncomfortable.
Uncomfortable. Yep.
Um, and it sucks as someone who hates any form of conflict.
Yeah.
But sometimes to do our job the best we can,
Mm-hmm.
we have to push those boundaries
Yeah.
because the full story isn't being told unless
Yeah.
we do so.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Yeah, I want to be clear. I also agree. I don't think freelancers can be on the hook for much. Frankly, they've had such a really hard road for the past 5 years with all their
Yeah.
all freelancing budgets being slashed everywhere. You kind of got to do what you can do. So certainly agree with that. But yeah, I just I feel like there's such a missed opportunity when you have access to these folks. You don't want to burn your access to them, but at the same time, it's a little bit like being in the press room of the White House right now. Like,
Yeah.
what good does it fucking get you if you're just going to be lied to and not be able to actually push back on it at all? You know, like,
Mhm.
good congratulations, you've just let someone say all of their talking points to you without any sort of pushback, and
Yep.
it's frustrating,
Yeah. Yeah. It doesn't. But what are we doing as journalists at that point?
right?
Are we journalists? Are we PR? What are we? Who are we serving
Right.
with this kind of like
Yeah.
story that we're producing?
Yeah.
And we all know the answer,
Hmm.
and I think we should begin gently pushing back
Yeah.
and just saying like, "Hey, let's get back to being journalists and
Totally.
pushing
Yeah.
that boundary."
I really genuinely do think there is ample market and appetite for real journalism. I mean, it's like your whole deal is like, I'm doing a journalism now, and I love that enthusiasm from you, and I see it in other people too. But that's one of those things where I'm energized when we get big investigative pieces, or we really get a lot of hard hitting questions asked to people, and stop being so softball
Hmm.
about these big important things.
Yeah,
It really is energizing. I do think there's a market out there for it.
yeah. And I do think there's a lot of people who do have positions
Mm-hmm.
who foster that, like Rebecca Valentine,
Yes.
Nicole Carpenter, who,
Yeah.
even though unfortunately she is now freelance, she was amazing as a staffer.
Yes.
She's doing amazing freelance work.
Amazing freelance work. So
Um,
almost immediately having so many bangers out
yeah,
different places. Yeah.
yeah. Um, but I do think that number is very small,
Yeah.
and I would like to see more of it
Yeah.
as the years progress.
Are there kinds of pieces that you want to be doing more of, that because you do a lot of investigative stuff, you do some reviews, you're doing obviously a lot of coverage on accessibility. Like, are there things that you want to do personally, like over the next year, that you haven't done much of?
I want to do more community reporting,
Cool. Yeah.
like the kind of stuff that's like we dig deep into like a really unknown niche community. I've probably done maybe 4 or 5 throughout my
Yeah.
entire career, and they're always my favorite.
Yeah.
Because they're not like dark, they're not like upsetting pieces. They're just
Totally.
fun
Yeah.
stories that explore a niche, sometimes weird, sometimes
Mm-hmm.
really cool
Yeah.
communities that maybe people don't know about from a game. Like I did a piece on shiny hunters in Pokemon,
Yeah.
and the lengths they go to shiny hunt, and that
Yeah.
was really cool. I did a piece on language deciphering in Tears of the Kingdom,
That's
and the
amazing.
people that do
Yeah.
like decipher the Zonai
Yeah. The
tablets.
language, the tablets.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I did a piece on a Mortal Kombat tournament that is exclusive to blind and low vision players. One of my favorite pieces.
That's amazing.
Um, so I really want to do more stuff like that. So
Yeah.
that's my favorite.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Yeah, I love community reporting. That was, when we were at Fanbyte, that was definitely, Chase Carter, who's now
Mhm.
um oh my God, what's the name of his thing? His new publication that I subscribe to. Rascal. Jesus. Couldn't come up with it. Um uh he did an amazing piece about a car show in No Man's Sky for Fanbyte. That was incredible. So community basically doing this, like, spaceship car show, like a cheesy car show on this planet. An underground fighting arena, unofficial, in Fallout 76. Like, there's just amazing community reporting out there, and yeah, I think you should definitely do as much of that as humanly possible. Hey, everyone, open up your budget to Grant to
Please
do more community reporting, please.
give me a job, please. No.
Yeah, yeah, come on, come on, give Grant
It's
a job.
Disability Pride Month.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
prepare. Let's give him a job.
Well, do you have anything else you wanted to chat about specifically today? We asked our community for some questions, and we could get to those, but I wanted to make sure we didn't miss anything before we do that.
I think we've covered everything.
All right,
Yeah, just more awareness about disabled writing and keep paying us. And
keep paying us.
accessibility journalism is crucial. You can do it seamlessly alongside every other form of
Mm-hmm.
journalism.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the big takeaway is it doesn't need to be just about options and
Yeah.
features.
Yeah.
Accessibility reporting, disability reporting can be with any major breaking news
Yeah.
in the gaming industry. It's not just relegated to when a new game or system launches.
That totally makes sense. Yeah, that's that. Please keep giving us money, by the way. Start giving us money. Because there are a lot of really great disabled folks out there who could be working for you. Um, I totally agree with that. All right, we have a couple of Hive questions. We don't have that many, but I did want to highlight a couple of things. Fonk. All right, Fonk. I'll ask this one. He says, I know Cloud, Final Fantasy VII, was one of the first times that John felt represented in video games, which is true. I did say that because he does get pushed into the abyss in a wheelchair, and I was like, "Hey, that's me." But for Grant, have you been do you feel like you've been represented in games, and if so, what was that moment?
Do you remember Murray or not Murray? Oh Jesus Christ. Uh, who's the turtle and Sly Cooper?
Oh, is it Mortimer? No, Sly
Murray's the
Cooper.
hippo.
That's right. Shit. Okay, well, I'm such a bad um, Ken Shepard right now is like throwing stuff at his MP3 player that I don't
Where
know
is
the
it?
answer is.
Ten help
It's
us, please.
it's Bentley.
Bentley.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was a game. I think it's Sly Cooper 2.
Yes, it is too.
Where Bentley gets disabled.
Yeah.
And you play as him in his wheelchair. And it's seamless. There's no like limitations that he has.
Mm-hmm.
He has a lot of cool mechanics with his wheelchair. And I was roughly 11 when I first played that game.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember being like, oh my gosh, it's me. Because
Yeah.
even Let's Let Me Do is a big head, everything, you know. Um,
I know, right?
yeah,
God, yeah, God. You know what? Solidarity on the big head thing, man.
amen, yeah.
I'm there with you.
Um, yeah, I would say Bentley was the one time in recent memory, and that was 20
That's a good
years
one.
ago.
That's a good
Yeah,
one. That's a good one. Yeah, I remember when Wolfenstein, the new Colossus, came out. A lot of people were like, "Hey, John,
yeah,
BJ starts like the game. He played like the first like 10 minutes in a wheelchair." And I will say, pretty fun to shoot Nazis from a wheelchair. That
it's
was
a
pretty good.
dream.
It's a dream. It was a dream.
Yeah,
I wouldn't say that that was all handled perfectly, but I did enjoy doing that
we take
very
it for
much
what
so.
it is.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Again, the bar is low, so we do take what we can get, essentially. Um, but that was fun. Let's see. Taylor asks, a lot of company first accessibility stuff focuses on controllers, but what are some back end improvements video games are missing? Brought to you by DVD closed caption, straight up not working on newer hardware.
I would say, gosh, it's so difficult to answer because
I
it really
know.
depends on what the game is.
Hmm.
Because this, there needs to be an understanding that not every setting should be in every game
Yes,
because
correct.
every game doesn't rely on the same mechanics
Hmm.
or gameplay. Um, I think that's my answer because
Yeah,
I really can't like pinpoint what games are missing
yeah,
because it's such a vast question.
yeah.
Um, wow, as a reporter, I really suck at answering
No, no, no.
questions.
I think I don't know if I would have a specific answer either actually for Taylor, but like something I've said and it's funny because I'll say it out loud and I'll mean it, but then if I think about it for 10 minutes, I'm like, what do I mean by that? But I've said this a
Mhm.
few times that like okay, so we have hardware makers that are making controllers and things that will help with adaptive setup. So, okay, so that's one thing. We have software makers that are creating accessibility tools within their software to make things more accessible to a wider audience. But where I think things are kind of missing are platform level accessibility features in terms of platform holders like Xbox or Sony or Nintendo or your PC maker or Linux or whatever,
Hmm.
creating tools that are overarching. Now, to your point, not every game needs every feature, so there would be some kind of like probably some really difficulty there. And it's a little bit like those browser-based accessibility like widgets that just like,
Hmm.
oh, just install it and it'll do whatever. Well, there are some issues with that.
Yeah.
So those do create issues. So I've always kind of thought that platform holders should have more stake in it and it should be not necessarily on the software makers all the time, but I also don't know how that would work. Um, so that's like one of those things I think about a lot. I don't know.
The one thing I've learned from doing the work and interviewing devs over the years is, like you said at the end of your statement, it doesn't really address the issues if
Right,
the game still has issues.
right,
Like the Switch, for example.
right.
I'm a Nintendo fanboy, so I'll defend it till I die. But even though its software is great for people with physical disabilities, that still doesn't alleviate the barriers that the games have
Right.
because there's no like options, features, or design practices in the game.
Hmm.
So like I do agree with you wholeheartedly, but
Yeah.
also it's still not
I
enough.
don't know. I don't know what it would look like, and I don't know
Yeah,
if it's enough.
yeah,
And but also, let's pick on Nintendo for a second, because I also love Nintendo, so I definitely see eye to eye with you there. But they've been pretty bad about this since the Wii era, like, right? I mean,
yeah,
like, Wii was really the first time where I looked at a game console and I was like, I'm a little pissed off about this, actually.
yeah,
Um, because Skyward Sword, like, one, that's not my favorite anyway. Once I eventually played it with a pro controller on Switch, but it's like Skyward Sword was like kind of inaccessible to me,
yeah,
and that was
yeah,
hard. That was really difficult.
yeah. I always say that Nintendo is, I think, receives a little bit too much shit
Hmm.
because the way they design games are for family units.
Sure.
So their games are inherently less complex than PlayStation, like
Sure.
God of War, The Last of Us, right?
Right.
But to your point, they don't really offer anything.
Hmm.
Usually, the Switch was the first Nintendo system to offer software accessibility.
Yes.
And it wasn't even extensive compared to
Right.
Xbox or PlayStation.
Right.
The Switch 2 has increased those offerings, but again, it's not what other players are used to
Right.
on other consoles. Um, it's such a weird one because they're not as inaccessible as people assume,
Hmm.
but they're very obviously lacking behind compared to the other big two.
Right.
Um, so it's like I find critiques with Nintendo
Hmm.
don't explore that. It's usually one extreme. Like they suck for everyone, boo. But in reality, they're bad,
Hmm.
but they're not as bad as online personas have
Yeah.
made them out to be.
Hmm.
But yeah, they should obviously have
Yeah.
far more improvements.
Yeah. Fonk also asks, 'cause I just mentioned Skyward Sword, and that was really an example of a game that, my disability finally kind of reared its ugly head because I don't have really that many moment to moment disabilities that would affect specific video gaming, but that was one of them. Has there been a really bright example for you of a game that was just fairly inaccessible for you that you really stuck with you?
Pokemon Go or Let's Do Pichu, Let's Do Eevee.
Really?
It was the only game, the
Yeah.
only Pokemon game that I've never been able to play.
Oh,
And I
that's
am
brutal.
Pokemon's biggest fan,
Yeah.
aside from
Yeah.
Ken Shepard. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
I am Pokemon's number one defender,
Yeah.
number one diehard defender.
Yeah.
Game Freak can do no wrong,
Yeah.
even though they do a lot of wrong.
Even though they can't get a Switch game above 20 frames per
Yeah,
second. Yeah, well, yeah, that's fine.
yeah, I'm their number one fan. Um, it was my first ever freelance piece
Yes.
for IGN that I wrote about being the first Pokemon game that I can't play.
Yeah,
And to this day, I still have never been able to play it.
that sucks.
Um, yeah, it's just I watch streams, I
Yeah.
watch Let's Plays, but for me, Pokemon is my comfort series.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
So I wasn't able to like actually experience it.
Right.
Uh, but yeah, definitely that game.
And I mean, this is kind of how I felt about Zelda too. It's like from a mechanical standpoint, it's like, and for what? Like, why were these things
Yep,
introduced into the game that created these barriers? Where it's
yep.
like, yeah, it's like it's very frustrating.
I always say Nintendo is like the king of gimmicks that
Yeah.
nobody wants. Not
Right.
even Nintendo. They just
Right.
put shit in, and then they force users to use them,
Yeah.
and no
Yeah.
one likes them. Um,
I think about the Wii balance board a lot. You know, it's like it's not like I was craving a lot of that stuff, but that was such a bright example to me of something that, they're like, okay, we did this one thing. Like it's really going to work for. We really only care about it for one thing. I guess we'll
mhm,
let other people, make stuff with it too. But it's like
yeah,
they very clearly had no intention of expanding that beyond that
no,
generation. It's just like, here it is. Like
yeah.
here's this thing that requires you to be, kind of an athlete to operate. And it's like, all right, well, sorry,
I,
that's
I'm
not me.
I'm very surprised the Switch 2 is the system it is.
Yeah.
I really thought Nintendo, for the longest time, was just going to abandon it and make
Mm.
something new, because that's what they do all the time.
Yeah.
So I'm very surprised and happy that it's
Me too.
basically the same thing.
It's
Um,
it's iterative. I mean, it really is.
yeah,
Like I don't mean this in a really derogatory way, but it does feel like a pro version
yeah,
of the Switch, but it's like it is very pro. I've talked about it a few times on the show, but like Cyberpunk 2077 fucking
yeah,
whips on
yeah.
Switch too. It's really good.
Pokemon Violet actually runs.
Actually runs.
It's
It's
good.
incredible. Right. Yeah. If you haven't played Tears of the Kingdom in 4K 60, like that's a
Yeah,
great opportunity for you without having to like mess with Yuzu settings. Like I'm not that person. So
yeah,
yeah, no, it's great that it's been so iterative because I was also worried, really, same as you. It's like, oh, they're gonna make everything the fucking ring fit, in the next one. It's like it's only a ring fit. There's a screen and a ring fit. And I'm like, okay, well, Grant and I are never gonna play a fucking Nintendo game again. Great,
you have to move every inch of your body. You move every inch of the character. And if you don't, you die.
you
And if you
die.
don't, your family dies. That's like, well, there it is.
We delete the game, we delete you, and we delete your family. Yeah, that's kind of what I don't know why I'm so worried about that stuff, but yeah, the Wii era really did a number on me.
It's fantastic,
Um,
especially because, like, from the Wii to the Wii U to
yeah,
the Switch,
yeah,
completely different.
yeah,
All three systems,
yeah,
completely different.
yeah, yeah, just completely different. Which is, yeah, it's interesting when you watch, how I think the DS was really maybe the first kind of like gimmicky thing that they really did.
Hmm.
But they had just been so iterative from Super Nintendo to Nintendo 64 to GameCube, and then it was like, let's play jazz. And some of
Yeah,
that jazz was really interesting. And I
yeah,
and I'm happy. I think I'm happy for the industry at large that we did get those experiments. But for your disabled friends, dear listener, it wasn't always great for us. So
No, it was
yeah,
awful.
it was not great. All right, I think that's it for questions. Okay, no, actually, there's one more. Destructinaut asks, this has nothing to do with disability. I love it. What is a oh okay, I get it. I had said in our Discord, hey, short notice, but and then ask for questions. And
Hmm.
Destructonaut says, short notice is a good old school Bond gimmick villain name. What would your Bond gimmick villain name be?
Oh,
I know,
oh,
I know, I know,
oh.
I know. It's tough.
Alright, I think I have two.
Okay,
Limp wrist,
okay, all right. Limp wrist.
both because, I'm a little,
Uh
and
huh.
also because muscles.
Uh huh.
Um, and then fast Walter.
Fast walker. Okay,
Yeah,
great. Okay,
I'm, I'm partially limp wrist.
Limp wrist is really fucking funny.
Yeah,
That's really good. That's really, really good. Um, yeah, I think, gosh, short notice. God, that's so funny. Limp wrists. Limp wrist. I think that limp wrist is so good. I'm not gonna beat limp wrist. I'm not gonna do it.
I believe in you.
Um,
I believe.
let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Um, okay. All right. Okay. It's coming to me. It's coming. There's something forming here. Okay. Okay. Keg Mahoney. And by keg, because that's what I always refer to as my torso, because it's
Yeah,
compressed. It looks like a keg.
you have one too.
So yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I got bad scoliosis, and they corrected it
yeah.
when I was 16. So I'm just this kind of like Mike Wazowski looking motherfucker.
Wow,
So
it feels
yeah,
so good to be amongst a like-minded company.
feels so big,
Wow.
big head, keg torso,
Yeah,
can't lose.
that's our show name.
That's
Big
our
Red
show
Kid
name.
Torso. Yeah.
Big Head Tech. Well, that you know what, Grant? That's certainly the name of this episode, and it will be the name of our show when we start one. Grant, I want to thank you for coming by and hanging out. First of all, you're welcome back anytime. We got to do this again
Yeah, thank you
uh,
so much.
very soon. Go read Grant wherever Grant can be found. You can find his pieces in many places, IGN. You can still find it on Polygon, even though it now is owned by Valnet.
Boo, boo.
Boo, boo. Where can people find you online? Would you have anything to pitch?
Um, you can find me on Blue Sky
Hmm.
at super underscore crypt 1994 at Blue Sky, whatever the new handle the system is. I don't really know how to say it. Um, I abandoned X because obviously,
Good for you.
why would you? I still have an account, just I don't want people
Oh
impersonating me.
yeah, no, I don't. I don't want that either. But I
No,
haven't looked at it. I haven't
yeah,
looked at it in months, and
same,
it's been wonderful.
same. Um, but yeah, mostly Blue Sky.
Cool.
I have a monthly column at IGM
Hmm.
called Access Design, which is just my accessibility thoughts of the month. You can find me there. You can find me just wherever publications are talking about accessibility, and wherever they'll hire me. And please do hire me, because I need money. So thank you.
Fuck it. You fucking hired Grant. Do you hear me? Listen to me. Hire Grant. Okay. It's gotta happen. All right. Go to bgbs.com/join if you'd like to join the hive. Like I said at the top of the show, we're just putting this up on the public feed. It's Disability Pride Month. It's two cripples talking. You're not going to get that. You're not going to get that on your giant bomb or your IGN. Only on VGBs are you going to get these
Yeah,
two big head keg torso motherfuckers in your ear. So,
you're goddamn
um,
right.
So go to bgbs.com/join. Throw us some money. We had a really nice month or beginning of the month for my birthday. We did a discount. That was awesome. We got a whole lot of new signups, but you can always sign up year round. It's not just on my birthday. So go to bgbs.com/join. Throw us some cash. Maybe we'll get enough budget with your help to start maybe giving Grant a monthly column. I don't know. Like maybe that's something that we could do. If you like the way that sounds, you should definitely go and give some money to bgbs.com/join, and we will throw the money directly at Grant. Folks, you can find me at floppyadult.com over on Blue Sky. You can find BGBs at bgbs.com over on Blue Sky as well. This has been an absolute blast. Nikki and I are going to be in person recording this week's episode of the official show here in Arlington, Texas. We don't know how that's going to work yet, but hopefully it won't be too chaotic. So stay tuned for that. That's right. You get two main feed episodes this week. Lucky you. All right, everyone. Until next time, for Grant and myself, keep on buzzing. Bye.